In partnership with parents and the community, Birmingham Public Schools will provide educational excellence that empowers students to cultivate their individual brilliance and positively impact the world.
Good evening and welcome. Tonight is September 24th, 2024, and this is the meeting of the Birmingham Board of Education. Our first order of business is roll call. Tracy?
Trustee Ajaluni?
Present.
Trustee Hokemer?
Here.
Trustee Joseph?
Here.
Trustee McKinney? Trustee Rass?
Here.
Trustee Spencer? Here. Trustee Zamet?
Here.
Thank you, Tracy. Trustee Hokemer, could you please read our vision and board norms?
Yes. Birmingham's vision: all students in Birmingham will realize their full potential, think critically, and champion an innovative tomorrow. And our board norms are: be respectful and reflective, be prepared, no surprises, ask questions and seek to understand opinions, assume positive intent, understand and respect the role of a trustee.
Thank you, Trustee Hokemer. And now I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Roberson for recognitions and her superintendent report.
Good evening. I'm going to start with recognitions, and the first recognition, and we were not able to do this in August, but I would like to ask Othamian Peterson to come up to the podium. Othamian Peterson is our new Groves High School principal, and Othamian has been assistant principal at Groves High School since 2012 and served as the dean of students and an English and social studies teacher at Groves prior to that. He has been a Birmingham employee since 2002. Mr. Peterson holds a bachelor's degree in English as well as a master's degree in secondary education from the University of Michigan and a master's in educational administration from Concordia University. He and his wife, Tanisha, have 4 children, 3 of who are current BPS students and 1 who is currently in her freshman year at college. We are excited to have Othamian Peterson here today, and I'd like to invite him up to say a few words. But can we give him a round of applause?
So I'm humbled, I'm excited, I am energized by a community that has helped raise myself and has been a home for my family for years. I love Birmingham schools. I love BPS community. It is a community of high achievers, a community of excellence. It's a community of diversity, inclusion, all the things that I espouse, that my family espouse, and that we strive our kids to continue to grow and to continue to be a part of. So I'm excited. I would also, again, like to recognize my wife, Tanisha, my family who is here today, Tanisha, my son, Othamian, my daughter Morgan, and my other daughter Riley. If they stand up, because for not their support, I cannot give the time and the energy to making sure that I'm here to promote all the great things that BPS is a part of in Groves High School and to be here for your children. So again, I thank my family, I thank this community for giving me the opportunity. I'm excited, I'm energized, and I'm ready for this next challenge. Thank you.
We have a full house, and we have a lot of great student recognitions as well. So I am going to invite Principal Wicker up to the podium to talk about our Seaholm National Merit finalists.
Thank you, Dr. Roberson. About 34,000 commended students throughout the nation have been recognized for their exceptional academic prowess. Although they will not continue in the 2025 competition for National Merit Scholarship Award, commended students have placed among the top 50,000 students who entered the 2025 competition by taking the 2023 PSAT. So 50,000 students sounds like a lot, but there was about 1.3 million students who took the exam. So being in the top 50,000 is very, very impressive. Those being named commended students have demonstrated outstanding potential for academic success. These students represent a valuable national resource, recognizing their accomplishment and the key role they have in both school and academic development. We hope this recognition will help broaden their educational opportunities and encourage them to continue their pursuit of academic success. So Seaholm was lucky enough to have 7 commended students this year. If you could join me up here. Vittorio Bevione, Oscar Borman, Jack Lassen, Haley Locia, Paige McCullough, Sarah Menkes, and William Cardona. And, now you guys got to get your picture with the superintendent. And of course, never turn down a good photo op.
Parents, you are more than welcome to come and take advantage of this photo op. Come forward, get a good picture of your child, because this is going to be a proud moment to remember.
Seaholm has also had the pleasure to welcome 4 students who are our National Merit semifinalists. Officials of the National Merit Scholarship Competition announced the names of approximately 16,000 semifinalists for the National Merit Scholarship Program. These academically talented high school seniors have the opportunity to continue in the competition for about 7,500 spots at the National Merit Scholarship, worth about $33 million. Over 1.3 million juniors at 21,000 high schools entered the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program to take that 2023 PSAT. These nationwide pool of semifinalists, representing less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors, include the highest scoring entrants in each state. We're happy to announce Seaholm's National Merit Scholarship Competition semifinalists: Isabella Breedlove, Arya Kumar, Tejas Sabinas, and Carson Wright. So the National Merit Scholarship winners will be announced in 4 nationwide releases in April through July. The scholarship represents over 375,000 other distinguished young people who have earned the National Merit Scholarship title.
Congratulations. Congratulations again.
Congratulations to all of our students who took the PSAT as well. Thank you, Dr. Roberson.
Now I will ask Principal Peterson to come back up and announce the Groves National Merit finalists.
Thank you, Dr. Roberson. So I would first like to acknowledge, so Wiley E. Groves is proud to announce that 5 students have been recognized as commended students in the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Program. This prestigious recognition places them amongst the top 50,000 students nationwide who have entered the competition by taking the 2023 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. Commended students demonstrate exceptional academic promise, and although they will not be continue in the competition for the National Merit Scholarships, they represent a significant accomplishment, and they are to be commended for their hard work and dedication. Please join me in celebrating our National Merit commended students: Ava Brown, William Davish, Lauren Madison, Parker Mingus, and Sabrina Schlotterer. And once again, parents, if you want to come up and take a picture, and principal.
Congratulations, ladies.
Groves would also like to announce that the official of the National Merit Scholarship Corporation has also announced the names of 16,000 semifinalists in the 70th Annual National Merit Scholarship Program. These academically talented high school seniors have an opportunity to continue in the competition for some 6,870 National Merit Scholarships worth about $26 million that will be offered next spring. To be considered for a Merit Scholarship Award, semifinalists must fulfill several requirements to advance to the finalist level of the competition. About 95% of the semifinalists are expected to attain finalist standing, and approximately half of the finalists will win National Merit Scholarship, earning the Merit Scholar title. We are happy to announce Groves High School's National Merit Scholarship Competition semifinalist for 2025 is Mr. Enzo Marucci.
Congratulations, Enzo.
It's a wonderful night. We will have our International Academy, also National Merit finalists at the next board meeting.
Nice.
This concludes our recognitions for this evening.
Thank you, Dr.
Wonderful.
Roberson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you and congratulations to all of our finalists. Dr. Roberson, at this time, I will turn it over to you for your superintendent's report.
First thing I want to do is just recognize October 2nd as National Custodian Day that's coming up. So we have great custodians in all of our schools, and sometimes they're a group that sometimes gets forgotten. So I want to just make sure that on October 2nd, we show them some love. I also want to introduce this evening our two student ambassadors who are here with us at the board meeting today, and they'll be here for the month of September and for October before we switch out to new ambassadors. And we have Owen Reifscheid and Kennedy from Seaholm and Kennedy Cook from Groves. So
Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
excited to have them here.
Thank you.
They received the board materials and was able to ascertain them from the website, and they are prepared today and will continue to be prepared for each of our meetings, and also start speaking to some of their constituents about the topics that we are talking about here at the board table, so that they have an idea of what the students think.
Welcome, and thank you for attending.
We've had a great start of the school year. You will hear later on in today's presentation from Business Services that we are amending our tax levy because our enrollment is better than projected. And so we will do an enrollment presentation probably at the next meeting after we get through count. But we're excited in the state where there has been declining population that we continue to keep our population up. Last year it was growing, and this year looks like it might be closer to flat, but that is still it's progress, especially because we had such a large senior class that graduated. We also will hear later on in today's agenda that our financial projection is also better than expected, and that is because we had to do the projected budget for this school year by July 1st, which is law. However, We did not have the state budget at that time, and so we budgeted very conservatively, and we have a better outcome. So those are all good things for this year. Academically, we have our math implementation program, K through 8, is moving along, and we are piloting our ELA K-8, new K-8 materials. Our high school teachers are helping to facilitate that move to semester and also a later start for our high school students. So we have a lot of big things that are happening within our school district. As well, I'm excited that the construction got done before school started. It was looking a little dicey the last couple of days, but we've seen a tremendous facelift to Groves. Seaholm got a new stairway as well. And we still have a couple of punch list items, but for the most part, our students are able to enjoy some of the end of our bond work. We're still waiting on a couple of playgrounds to be installed at West Maple and also at Pembroke. But for the most part, we have been moving along. And then I have one announcement that I just, I'm happy to share. In case you didn't see the article from MLive, which talked about our 3rd through 8th grade state scores. So that looked at MSTEP and also PSAT and for this past year. And it had us ranked as 5th in the state and number 1 in Oakland County on that current data for 3rd through 8th grade. So just excited to see that the work that we've done, which has been really around K-8, the new K-8 math curriculum, the current K-8 ELA pilot, but we did a whole year of learning to see the fruition of that work come out in our scores is really commendable. So I just want to say thank you to our staff for making that happen. That's my report for today.
Thank you very much. Trustees, is there any board comment or any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda before we get into public comments?
I don't have any. I'm so pleased that our projects were completed on time, the ones that we were most concerned about, that the kids are back in school. It is week 3? Week 3, end of week 3. And looks like everything's going well. Just hope it continues that way.
I think, too, as trustees, all of us were at different schools on the first day of school welcoming parents, staff, and students back. So I think that definitely helped us kick off our school year on the right foot. So I know that that's something I personally enjoy. So I think all of us enjoyed that day, just welcoming everybody back. Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, this proud accomplishment with your last report about the ranking of the middle school. That's an amazing accomplishment to everyone. Trustee Hochmer and myself had an opportunity to go to the governance committee on September 4th. And there was an initiative called Career 80. Sorry, I took notes on my phone. So it's called Oakland 80 Initiative, which is basically means that 80% of the population would have a degree or certification by 2030. But that's for the state of Michigan. So the Oakland County, for the state of Michigan is 60 by 30. So 60% would have the certification. So Oakland County has larger, which is 80%. So they also have career and education navigation. I brought up like a flyer with a QR if you want to take a QR photo of it. And also a way to support your future. And another thing, there was a full agenda, so I'll go real quick here, I'm sorry. There was a October 30th meeting coming to having two distinguished panelists at OU, which is about the 2024 campaign. That's also sponsored by Oakland County. I think it's going to be in Oakland University, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Oakland University, Oakland Center, October 30th at 7 p.m. And then last but not least, their main agenda covered the late summer and fall and the public acts. So I don't know if Amy wants to add anything further, but I don't want to take too much time.
Thank you, Trustee Joseph.
Yeah, it was a nice presentation, and it has resources for schools as well as for people who have already graduated from high school and would like to get back into college or a trade.
The only other thing I have is we do have 4 delegates that are able to attend the MASB training weekend at the end of October. We have to submit our names of our delegates very soon. So if you are interested, we've sent a couple of reminders out and in the month or the weekly update. But if you're interested in attending, if you could let Tracy know as soon as possible so she could register us. If that is something you're interested. Right now, Trustee Hokumer is attending, but we do have 3 other seats available.
Oh, you know what, I just remembered one more thing, and this is on behalf of our tech department, Mr. Riley Kelly, that we have that safety, please tell me that cyber safety, the whole test thing that's got to be done, trustees, by
I did it.
September 24th. I did too. I did too. So just wanted to put in a plug and thank you for sending that out and keeping us all updated.
I know.
Current, I should say, current.
Correct, yeah. And it's an annual thing, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just an FYI. It's an annual thing that we have to take to be aware of cybersecurity because we never know, obviously, with today's. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, right now I will move to public comment. And before we begin public comment, I will read our policy. Because the Birmingham Board of Education values public meetings, not just meetings in public, we welcome public comment on school issues. Most comments can be concisely stated in 3 minutes, and the board respectfully asks that comments remain focused on the topic or issue and not specific personnel. We welcome your comments but cannot discuss nor debate items not on the agenda. When asked to discuss non-agenda items, we can share facts but not engage in discussion. We need to follow laws regarding public notice on issues and be aware that other community members may have interest in the topic but without proper notice may not be present to contribute. With that being said, and I apologize, I'm trying to read people's writing, so if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. I invite Lauren Sherman to the stand.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Some in the room have been expecting me. As you are aware of this problem I am here to speak about tonight. This board's attorney is very aware of the issue, as she called my attorney to specifically ask if I have been speaking to board members about this issue. I must presume that she has spoken with the board about the issue, and to date, nothing has been done. Every day, we hear about Jewish students who are scared on university campuses to show their Jewish pride. People ask, where does the Jewish hatred come from? It's actually very easy to answer in our case. It came from right here in this room. It's allowed to fester in places like Birmingham schools. There have been significant anti-Semitic incidents in this district in 2016, 17, 18, 2020, 2023, and yesterday. For me, the one that stands out is the one that occurred in 2023 because I was witness to a principal in Birmingham School District using an anti-Semitic trope towards a student and their parents. It was followed up by the principal asking for the names of the student's Jewish friends. To say I was horrified is an understatement. Over time, I brought this matter to the principal, the superintendent's office in person in writing, school board members, and a letter asking to meet with the superintendent. Your response? Crickets. The school board members I spoke with said they would look into it. The superintendent didn't respond. The only one that had any comment said this is a place of kindness, And when asked about previous Jewish hate incidents, said neither the principal in question or the person who I was speaking with was in the district then, like it never happened. We heard university presidents tell Congress that Jew hate depends on the context, but intelligent people know it does not. Jew hate is Jew hate. Anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism. Context doesn't matter, and it's the coward's way out. The school district claims to have zero tolerance policy for hate. Unfortunately, it's clear it really depends upon who the hate is directed to. If it's an employee expressing that hate, then it's perfectly okay. We only need to punish the kids. I contend that we have an education problem here. I stand before you as a proud Jew to tell you it's not okay and must be resolved. I am not going away. I've been here longer than most of you, and I will be here long after you leave your positions. I must insist this board address your anti-Semitism, Jew hatred problem head on. You have ignored the problem, you have ignored me, and you must address the situation. The principal who made these anti-Semitic comments must be disciplined appropriately. The message must be that hate is unacceptable, context be damned. The problem is in this room, and all of us here are responsible. We can no longer blame the students if the superintendent's team can spew Jew hate and no consequences. Someone must be fired for this if it continues to fester like it did yesterday. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, I invite Sarah Flynn to the podium.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah Flynn. I am a parent of a current BPS student. After reading the last meeting minutes, I'm here tonight to express my concerns for the potential removal of Board Policy 4005. This policy prohibits school staff from assisting students with abortion-related services. I do not support removing this prohibition. I know BPS would never want to stand between the parent-child relationship. This is an extremely personal issue that should be thoughtfully addressed at home between guardians and family members, not in school. This policy also protects staff and the district. It safeguards them from the vulnerable position of coming between a parent and child during a very difficult time. I urge the board to please keep this policy in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I invite Tricia Ovlennik to the podium.
Hello, thanks for your time. I am kind of going to be on the tail end of the first comments. First off, I've been a BPS parent for the last 18 years. I have been in many PTA positions. I'm currently the PTA president at Derby and have been at Pierce. I've experienced 4 superintendents. I have had 4 different principals at Derby. And at last night's district PTA meeting, although I had heard about the changes in the homecoming, I did not know to the extent which you made comments about changing of the homecoming date and the unfortunate incidents that happened after that. The first thing I mentioned at the meeting yesterday was the lateness of the calendar coming out and how we need to do some work on moving that calendar distribution to before the end of August. I know we have some of that from Oakland schools, but I can't help but thinking that because of the late calendar that there is some pressure in the error of the date falling on a Jewish holiday. The other thing that really stuck out to me that I commented on was that we need more education. And that comment was sort of sloughed off by some, and the focus on many parents was, what are the consequences going to be? And that stopped me, because I know there needs to be consequences, because this was a vile commentary that happened. But the focus needs to be on the education and what have we BPS, not done. And my other concern is for the student that made bad choices. They're going to have this on them for the rest of their lives. And science tells us that the frontal lobe does not develop fully until they are well into their 20s. I heard comments about how this needs to be on their permanent record and follow them into their college career. That may be all well and good, but we need to focus on the socio-emotional skills and not just what the hate was about. But we also need to bring back presentations for students all across the board about consequences through our prosecutors and our judges about what happens with hate speech, what happens with threats about whatever they're threatening in schools. We need to bring back social media awareness about words and about their electronic footprint. We need to bring back more on suicide prevention because that was one of my first thoughts about this student. How is this going to affect them? And education needs to be more, better, and faster. And it needs to be continuous and consistent. We can't do education just to get a School of Character award. We need to be a school of character all the time.
Your time is up. Please conclude.
I know that a lot of talk happens about how some of these things stopped because of COVID, because buildings have been closed, about having to vet speakers. We can't look at these excuses, but we need to consider the education that needs to be done across the board.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
And our last public comment is Amy Voigt.
Good evening. Thank you for providing the community with an opportunity to share their thoughts in public comment. I attended the Board of Education meeting on August 13th and have been thinking about the discussion which ensued related to the acceptance of the Miller-Johnson recommendations. My comments relate to the discussion surrounding the professional behavior of school staff. Because we are in the new school year, it is notable that this week's board agenda includes the hiring of 32 new employees, all of whom have been vetted for experience with students. This could be in previous employment in a school-like setting, volunteering with children, being a camp counselor, coaching, or tutoring. Without prior experience, no one who wishes to be working in an academic setting would even be considered for public possible employment, especially not in Birmingham. For 33 years, I had the privilege of sitting on multiple hiring committees ranging from student teachers to superintendents. I can tell you that one of the questions we carefully consider is, what experience have you had in schools or educational settings? This experience is key to understanding the extent to which they have worked with other people's children, their level of trustworthiness, and whether they will uphold the values of our district. We check references carefully. At the same time, the continually updated Revised School Code Act number 451, which was initiated into law in 1976, delineates a myriad of convictions for which teachers may have their teaching certificate revoked. The Michigan Code of Educational Ethics, revised by the Michigan Department of Education in 2019, begins with the following. Trust in the educational system depends upon a level of professional conduct and responsibility that may be higher than required by law. The expectation that teachers will uphold the highest of ethical standards and expectations is that which is on the reverse of our teaching certificate we all sign. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of teacher according to the best of my ability. Being certified as a public school teacher is an act of patriotism. Thinking about this has made me a little nostalgic for my previous role. My colleagues voted me Teacher of the Year, and my crown is still shiny. When I taught in my classroom, I was one of many teachers my students encountered during the day, one voice of many, not the only. This one of many can be analogized with the Board of Education. Each of you is one of valued of 7. Board service includes dozens of hours of professional development and serving on several board committee assignments, which range from Oakland County School Board, Government Relations Committee, Oakland Athletic Association, Diversity and Character Education, PTA Council, Birmingham African American Family Network Scholar. You are all busy, plus your own committees within the board. So let me just say, people out there in TV land, the job of a Board of Education member extends far beyond 2 meetings a month, and it should. As community members, we expect our teachers and staff to go above and beyond the expectations, and our teachers and staff do. Therefore, I would be remiss if I did not thank the members of this board for their professional behavior and their valued and extensive service as servant leaders to our school district. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. Now we will move, anybody in the audience is welcome to leave at this time if they would like while we continue our business meeting, or you are welcome to stay. At this time, we will move to our consent agenda, which includes a personnel report, the designation of the school safety liaison, minutes from our August meetings. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 5, acceptance of our consent agenda?
I move that we approve Resolution 5, acceptance of consent agenda.
Support.
Thank you. Trustees, is there any discussion? This time, all in favor of approving Resolution 5, the acceptance of our consent agenda, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. This time, I would like to turn it over to our Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Heitch, for his report. And the Resolution 6.
Thank you, Board of Education and Community. I'm bringing forward Resolution 6, which is our second reading of the acceptance of the Miller-Johnson Attorney Recommendation and updates to the Board of Education Bylaws and Policy Manual. The Policy Committee met at the end of July to review these recommendations. The recommendations were first brought forward at the August 13th board meeting, and we are asking that the Board of Education of Birmingham Public Schools reaffirms Resolution 2, which was presented at that August 13th meeting, and approves the following policies to be amended as recommended and presented by the Miller-Johnson attorneys. A vast majority of these policy updates are in relation to changes in state and/or federal legislation or in preparation of changes that will occur beginning in 25-26.
Thank you, Mr. Heitch. Trustees, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 6, acceptance of the Miller-Johnson recommendations and updates to the board bylaws and policy manual?
I move to consider Resolution 6, acceptance of Miller-Johnson Attorney Recommendation and updates to the Board of Education Bylaws and Policies Manual, second reading.
Thank you. I will go ahead and second that. Trustees, is there discussion this time? I would like to propose that we vote on everything within this resolution with the exception of Section 1707, the removal of Section Policy 4004, other matters of employment to table to our study session next week, and then vote on everything else so the district can move forward with their business and the policies that are written in there, but table that section for our discussion at our study session next week.
Support. Second.
Okay, so we have another motion on the floor,
Correct.
which was to approve this resolution.
And I'm asking to amend.
Okay.
But the way it was on board docs, at least, that 1707, you said?
Correct.
It's crossed out. So does that
Well-
mean it's not applicable?
The resolution calls for removal of that particular policy. So what President Rassa is proposing as an amendment is to vote on all of the other policies, but table the update 17.06. So take that out. We would not be voting on that tonight. We would discuss it at a later date.
Okay,
So that there can be further discussion about it.
I understand.
So now we need to vote on the amendment, correct?
Correct. So we have, first and a second, trustees, any other questions regarding my proposal for the amendment?
No questions. I do appreciate having a little more time to discuss it more fully, and yet still get some of these other updates going.
So all those in favor of approving the acceptance of Miller-Johnson attorney recommendation and updates to the Board of Education Bylaws and Policy Manual, second reading, with the exception of removing section 1707, to table that to our study session next week. All those in favor, please.
So we're voting on your amendment, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you need to say, as amended to exclude.
As amended to exclude section 1707. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's really to postpone 1707, correct?
No, we're tabling it until another specified time.
Right, which means we're not getting rid of it, we're,
Right.
Right.
okay, so it's a postponed approval based on a further discussion.
But all the rest of the,
Just needed to clarify that for everybody.
at home.
Yeah.
So Tracy, if you could note that we've amended that resolution and it passed 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hyde.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. At this time, I will turn it over to Mr. Taratua for our business services report, the dashboard overview.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Education trustees. I'm going to invite David Goldman from Plummer and Real Point, our owner's representative, to give their quarterly dashboard update on the status of our construction projects, what's been completed, what's coming up in the next quarter or so. And then following that, I'm also going to have him do a presentation on the Phase 5 design preview for what we're looking at upcoming this next year in summer.
Thank you.
David?
Thank you and good evening. First of all, I want to say thank you to the board, all the school staff, all the district staff that has supported us and helped us get through the summer. As Dr. Robertson said earlier, it was a close finish, but we did get it done, and we are very excited to be a part of it. As you'll recall, we were here in July to give our last quarterly update with the dashboard. Since then, we have put in place about $10.1 million of construction, close to $200,000 in FF&E new furniture throughout the classrooms and schools, and about $1.2 million since July in technology and security. As you guys are familiar with, the bond isn't just about construction, as you'll see on the top left. It is broken down into major categories, including construction, but not limited to that. There's furniture, fixtures, and equipment, buses, technology, design prime work, which we're working directly with some of our roofing consultants to get bid packages out, as opposed to with our CM groups and our architects. So again, that pie chart should look familiar. It hasn't really changed. Those percentages won't change throughout the bond. We're happy to be a part of the team. I do want to say we have some upcoming, we just finished this summer's work, and we're already well on our way for next summer's work. We've accepted bids earlier this week for some new roofs for next summer, so we're already on that next phase. As you'll see in the bottom left, or I'm sorry, bottom right, is our kind of upcoming project schedule. And we're still doing a couple closeout things, correcting a couple things at the Seaholm athletic field, so those are underway. BCS renovations are opened in time for school. We are still dealing with a couple things in the pool and trying to close that project out. And then, just finishing up the Groves renovations and site work improvements there, as well as the Seaholm renovations and site work there. Coming up, we have the Midvale chiller replacement. We actually think we might be able to better the dates that are shown on the screen. So with that, I do want to share a couple of pictures throughout the 3 schools we worked at this summer, BCS, Groves, and Seaholm. So I actually went around the school district one afternoon last week to take pictures. And I actually ended up taking 100 pictures, but I would probably bore you with showing them all. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And again, we can't thank the board and the staff enough for all their support throughout the summer. All the way down to the school janitors. Everyone has helped. Covington, a lot of interior improvements happened there over the summer.
The locker rooms, you can start seeing the new floor going in. We started incorporating their colors into the school. You can see that in the cafeteria pictures. We put those nice acoustical panels up there so that room isn't so loud. The serving line, you know, it has that beautiful wall tile walking in. The corridors all that carpeting was removed and nice new flooring was installed. And the media center, again, because of your guys' support, we were able to do that ahead of time. And really, over the summer, we use that as storage for furniture. So again, thank you so much for that. The gym, we painted those rafters black and really new bleachers, new scoreboard. You can see the classroom finishes. The district handled the playground as well. We wanted to highlight that. Groves, you guys probably see this a lot because you're here. You know, that front entrance to the auditorium got totally revitalized. All I keep hearing from my family driving by is, wow, that sign is amazing in front of Grove. So it's a very cool highlight. That front office, you can see in the bottom right there, you know, just a 180 from what it used to look like. We got new furniture in select areas and more to come. And that west parking lot, I'm sure everyone can have a smile on their face when they go there. And not to mention, this one will get taken care of next summer. So the one outside, the EAC will get. And then last but not least, Seaholm, we did a parking lot expansion over by the community education. The new practice field is finally complete, so we're happy about that. The main entrance at Seaholm, new stairs, new railings, it's awesome. The weight room, we added a nice maroon wall to it so it's not all white. New flooring, that new wood flooring. Again, new furniture in select areas. That life skills room in Seaholm got a facelift. And truly, I think the most transformative space is that hallway for Lincoln Street. It looks unbelievable. We got rid of the lockers, put up, you know, wall tack boards, and they got new furniture. So overall, I think it was a very good summer. And again, thank you for your efforts and supports.
Trustee Angeloni and I were just pointing to the Lincoln Street renovation. It's a night and day difference, and it brightens that up so much from what it.
Yeah, it had the checkered flat flooring and everything like that, so yes.
Looks great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now we'll move into the 2020 bond Phase 5 design preview presentation.
Hello, thank you again for having me.
Long time no see.
So as I mentioned, we have already started most of the planning, and if not, we're going out to bid very soon for next summer stuff. Planning ahead is important. You're competing with all the other school districts doing work, so getting those out to bid early on just makes everything better. So just wanted to kind of go through what we have coming up and you know, answer any questions you guys have as we go through it. So as you'll recall, the $195 million total bond is broken out into different categories. Like I mentioned previously, it's not just construction. You know, there's more to a bond than just construction. You guys are going to benefit from getting new buses here soon. I believe they're coming real soon, right, Kevin? So again, all that stuff is in the works, and it's going real well. As you guys recall, you know, I am up here, yes, as one, but I represent a whole team of professionals that are helping on the bond program, from our CMs to our two CMs to our two architectural firms, you know, everyone within the district helping. We have civil engineers, testing agencies. It's a well-oiled machine, but it takes an army to do it, and we're proud to be a part of it. Some milestone schedules coming up this year. The new addition at Bingham Farms Elementary will be starting in the spring of 2025, going for about a year. Alongside that, the interior renovations of the existing space will take place once school is out next summer. Corton Elementary, we are also getting ready for interior renovations. Both of those schools will be going out to bid here very shortly. Groves, as I mentioned before, the east parking lot and bus loop will take place next summer. as well as the stadium parking lot improvements over at Seaholm. So that will be the one right outside the football athletic facility there. We are also still working at facilities to build a new salt storage barn structure for the salt that is used throughout the district in the wintertime. Right now, it needs some improvements, so we're working on that. That one's a TBD because we're still trying to refine how we want to build that structure. As well as so this coming summer, we are going to be doing some selective roofing at Groves over the pool. We're going to do Seaholm auditorium roofing. And then there is going to be some areas of BCS that will have new roofing as well. That includes the kitchen, cafeteria, gym, pool, locker room area at BCS. So again, we just got those bids back earlier this week, and they were very favorable to our budget. So we are going to make that recommendation to you guys in October to go with the selected contractor. And then we are still working on the Pembroke parking lot improvements, as well as potentially some parking lot improvements over at the transportation department. So, and you can stop me if you have any questions at any time. And then, as I mentioned, here's kind of just an outlook of where we stand with the award schedule. We're going to come here, as we just did the quarterly report. Next month, we're going to come for those roofing projects I mentioned. And in November, we will have the full bids for Bingham Farms and Quarton, along with the Seaholm Stadium parking lot. And then in December, we'll come back here for another quarterly update, Pembroke parking lot improvements, and the Bingham Farm move management bids. So all of that stuff is going to happen at the end of the year. And then going into the new year, we'll do the transportation parking lot improvements, come to you guys along with the salt storage structure. So just wanted to give some views of what, renderings of what the addition at Bingham Farms will look like. This addition will be placed on the north side of the building, just to the east of the new playground, so it won't really have any effect on that. It will all be barricaded off so the kids can still enjoy the playground throughout the year. We had some great meetings with the staff on site to kind of do coordination and how we would do that. So over on the flat roof area is the new addition. It will be mainly for 4th and 5th grade use. It will have 6 classrooms with a large instructional space. And it will help with the older kids being in those corner rooms that are very problematic in Bingham Farms. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. And just some views of how it will look outside. Here's that large instructional space going into the classrooms. Everything, new colors. Along with that addition, they will be getting new upgraded finishes for most part throughout the school. You can see our color schemes that were picked by the school team and our design team. And then here's a typical existing classroom. You'll notice on the left, we are doing that bulkhead to cover up the unsightly piping and wiring that is in that building. That's that blue. It's going to be a blue drywall with a acoustical bottom, so it's going to look really nice. We're looking to hopefully replace all the lights in those classrooms. That's an alternate right now. And a lot of new finishes throughout. And then we also have the media center as an alternate for new finishes in there as well. The reason you do that is just to give you a little flexibility when the bids come in, and if they. It's an easy thing to either say yay or nay to, when it's priced out separately like that. And then a couple more pictures of the inside of how that school will look with all new finishes throughout. We will also be doing a very nice upgrade to the entranceway and kind of make it more prominent. And we've been working with the school staff on that. To get that look. And again, these are renderings. The final designs and stuff will come shortly. And then over in Quarton, we're going to get select casework in certain classrooms as well as the new front office. We're going to be renovating the restrooms, the non-historical ones, I should say. The historical ones with the marble that everyone likes, those will just get new partitions, but for the most part, the other restrooms will get upgraded. We're going to be doing new boilers in that school, so something you won't see every day, but you'll feel the comfort of it. New clinic, it's going to be enlarged to be an actual full-size clinic. Main office upgrades, and then outdoor storage shed as well. And one of the alternates we have on that is the new flooring for the media center. Again, it's just going to be priced separately, and we'll hopefully be able to accept that at the time. And that's what it would look like. And then the addition, the cafeteria flooring and some new finishes in there would be an alternate as well. So that's what I have on the elementary schools. And then just moving on real quick with our partners, IDS and Barton Mallow for the high schools. As I mentioned before, here at Groves, that north parking lot that we use every day, that will be replaced. So it just looks like the west one that was just completed days before school. And the parking lot on the north side of Seaholm by the football fields. And then here, just an overview, guys, of just the roof areas that are scheduled to be replaced at BCS, Seaholm, and Groves, and the paving projects that we have upcoming at Pembroke and Transportation. So I welcome any questions you might have.
Very good work. I look forward to the upcoming projects.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
And trustees, just, I know we say this, Colleen or Lori and I, but we did go through all of this at our bond meeting too last month, so.
Mhm.
Any questions? No. Thank you very much.
Do you want me to stay?
Okay, Kevin, back over to you.
Okay, so I'm gonna take resolution 7 here before moving up to the podium, just in case there are questions for David, because our next resolution, resolution 7, is the second amendment to the owner's representative services for the 2020 bond. So as the board is aware, Plant Moran Real Point is our owner's representative as a part of our overall 2020 bond construction work. And as owner's rep, essentially, they sit in on meetings, they help coordinate our construction teams, our architect teams, keep everyone in line, help with the accounting, help with the budgeting, essentially to alleviate a lot of the work that would have to be done in district, as well as lend expertise in the field to our work. So this resolution is being recommended to the board because when we originally signed the owner's representative services contract, it was for 72 months beginning of March of 2020. Mm-hmm. And if we do the math, that's about 6 years, so that ends March of 2026. But originally, the bond plans were for final closeout as of spring 2028. So summer work in 27, closeout of 28. But that would leave a 2-year gap without an owner's representative service, which would then we would lose a lot of that functionality should we not continue that contract. Fortunately, through the diligent work of the board and our construction teams and everyone involved with the bond projects, we were actually able to pull forward a lot of our work by about a year. So instead of being a spring of 28 closeout, we're now looking at a spring of 27 closeout. So this recommendation to our contract with Plant Moran is only for an additional 12 months and continues at the same rate that the current contract is under. I guess that is basically the gist of it. Is there any additional questions on this amendment?
The bond committee was also made aware of this, so we gave head nods because we thought this was good. Ending out in the closeout in the spring of 2027 was a benefit. Cutting down our loss of owner's rep service from 2 years down to 1 year was another benefit. and so I'm going to support this amendment.
I will add one additional component that I know is always important when we talk about financial things, and that's budget. This recommended addition to or amendment to the contract has sort of been projected into our bond plan. So what we have projected, what the scope of work we have planned to do, nothing of that is going to be affected by extending this contract.
And to be clear, this does not come out of general fund, it comes out of bond.
Out of bond fund, yes.
So the additional 579,000 is part of the bond money.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Trustees, any other questions? Could I have a motion to approve Resolution 7, Second Amendment to Owners Representative Services for the 2020 bond?
I motion to move Resolution 7, the Second Amendment to the Owner's Representative Services forward. Excuse me.
I support.
Moved by Lori, seconded by Luke. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you.
Okay, next item is Resolution 8, the reauthorization of the 2024-2025 operating tax rates. So every September, I come to you to reauthorize the millage for the winter tax levy of our hold harmless millage. We originally approved this back in June, along with the normal 18 mills for the operating portion, and we base it on the projected enrollment back in May and June when we are initially figuring out what our budget is going to be. Now that school is in session and we've started counting students as they arrive, we have a better idea of what that enrollment is going to be and how it should affect our hold harmless levy. So as the enrollment improves, there is a modest improvement or a modest increase to that tax levy, which I'll explain in a little bit. But that's the background. So this resolution is taking what we approved in June, a mill of 4.8062 mills, and changing it to 4.8358 mills for the winter tax levy. So quick math, that increase is 0.0296 mills. And to put that in perspective, if you have a home with a taxable value of $1 million, that would be an increase of $29 to you individually. So a very small and modest increase, but across the whole spectrum of our tax base and our improvement in enrollment does affect the amount of supplemental money that comes in to the school district for our operations. And so we do have to submit this by September 30th, so the Finance Committee did meet prior to this meeting, go over this information, ask questions, in accordance to then recommend to the board meeting today, because we have to approve by September 30th in order to make the winter tax rolls.
Okay. Trustees, any questions?
No. I move that we approve Resolution 8, reauthorization of 24-25 operating tax rates.
Support.
Moved by Amy, seconded by Nicole. All those in favor of Resolution 8, reauthorization of the 2024-2025 operating tax rates, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, Kevin. Resolution 9.
All right, Resolution 9 is the approval of the 2024-2025 General Appropriations Budget Act Amendment 1. And I have a presentation up on the screen. So traditionally, we don't amend our budget until about December or January after we've done the fall audited enrollment. We've got a clear understanding of staffing, as well as any final adjustments to the state budget. That's what happens in a typical sense. But we had to approve our budget in June, prior to when the state actually passed the State Aid Budget Act, as the superintendent reported in her report. So because of that difference in when we, as a district and the board approved our original budget, and the significant difference of what the state actually passed, we felt it prudent to actually update our current estimate of our budget, because there was some items in there that were unpredicted, but fortunately, when we pointed out, actually are of benefit and improve our budget outlook at this point in time. So some of the changes to the amendment and the assumptions: our per pupil foundation estimate changed from $241, I know that's a typo, per pupil to 0. So the foundation, the State Aid Budget Act did not actually increase our foundation at all when we had projected a $240 increase per pupil. The MIPSER's Rate Reduction Act, which was something we had crossed our fingers for and hoped for, did pass, albeit temporarily for this year, and we're hoping that it becomes codified into law here very soon. Tomorrow. Very, very soon. So that has been added to this new budget amendment. The elimination of 147F is now listed on there because it was actually somewhat redundant with the item above it, so they eliminated that. And then 31AA, mental health and the safety categorical, our original budget estimated about a 50% reduction. The state aid budget passed was a 92% reduction. So in general, while 31AA was a lot of supplemental costs, there's not a strong fund balance effect because of that change. There is programmatic effects that did happen because of that.
Well, yeah, well, the SROs are now in the general fund, so that is programmatic, but also just want to share that the student support coaches, because, you know, we have a lot of people who really found positive results from the student support coaches, from some of the tutoring money, as well as support for the therapy dogs. All of that was used with mental wellness and safety money in addition to the SROs. So we weren't able to continue to keep some of those programs once we found out that we had those that big of a cut.
Thank you. What you will not see in this budget is any change to the projected enrollment from June. So just on a conservative basis, without audited enrollment numbers, we chose not to change our budgetary estimate based on any changes in enrollment, just the foundation amount. And then we also didn't change anything in other expenditures while we are currently assessing how the start of this year is going and our staffing and all the other components as well. So what is being changed? The slide you have in front of you will show in the first column the final budget for 23-24 as a comparison point. The middle column, 24-25, the original budget as approved. And then the far right column is now the amended 24-25 budget. The tick marks on the right will outline in more specific detail the changes or associated non-changes. For example, we didn't change anything with local revenue because the State Aid Budget Act has no impact on our hold harmless or how much essentially we're pulling in from our local operating tax levy. So the vast majority of items are all in item C, which are those state aid items that we have reflected. The decrease because of the foundation being 0 and not 241 was a decrease of about $1.7 million. The increase in the MIPSER's money, as we're calling it, is $3.871 million, and that is based on a report out of the state senate that looked at all the districts and their enrollment and what that might be projected to be. So at this point, we're using that as our point of reference. The per pupil mental health grant reduction was $672,000, additional cut over that original 50% we had estimated in our original budget. And then the loss of 147F, that duplication with the MIPSER's offset money, was $364,000 of decrease. And then you will see in item D, there was a reduction in salaries and benefits, again related to the 31AA, essentially supplemental payments. So that does actually improve our financial outlook. Our net change in fund balance as approved was just over $3 million use of fund balance. With these changes from the state aid budget, our net use of fund balance is just under $1.2 million, improving that fund balance as a percentage of expenditures from about 11% to 11.65%. At this point, are there any questions on the budget or any other additional comments?
Trustees, could I have a motion for Resolution 9?
I move to consider Resolution 9, approval of the 2024-25 General Appropriations Budget Act.
Support.
Moved by Colleen, seconded by Amy. All those in favor of Resolution 9, approval of the 24-25 General Appropriations Budget Act Amendment 1, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Kevin,
Yeah, nice
thank
job.
you for the one-page summary.
You got it.
So much easier to read.
And thank you, Finance Committee, for moving all those things forward for us as well. At this time, we have something on our other that I will turn over to Trustee Joseph about proposed board goal.
Yeah, sure, go for it. Hello, oh, sorry. Hello, does this work? Okay. Good evening, thank you. Thank you, President Raz, for working with me to bring this. So I would like to make an amendment to our board goals that was, when was it passed? In January of 2024, to reflect district rankings statement, which would read, district rankings as a board, we commit to reviewing the district's third-party rankings like U.S. News, World Reports, or Niche on an annual basis. We will work with central leadership to ensure we update, explore, and review data regarding our state assessments performance, keeping in mind that this data for some publications is 2 years old.
So you would like to make a motion to amend our board goals?
Yes,
I second your motion.
thank you.
Trustees, do we have any discussion?
Yes, I do. I'm not gonna support this amendment, and the reason why, although I so appreciate all of the research you've done and the work you've done in this, I'm also aware, keenly aware, that many of these companies that perform these surveys and come out with these rankings are for-profit organizations, and it's just a matter of how much you pay to get to a certain ranking. And to me, this is very deceptive. And, you know, being a teacher for as long as I can, this information did not help or teach me to be a better teacher, better educator. I want to continue the excellence of this district, the way we have been doing things, and constantly improving and changing all of the programs from Miss Imperio's office coming out, just giving us unbelievable data. And so I want the merit and the hard work of this district to be weighed on our own data and research. And with that vote, I'm going to have to run because I want to catch the last 30 minutes of my son's soccer game.
Can you just wait really quickly so we can all just vote
okay.
together? Does anyone else have any feedback or commentary before we call for a vote?
Well, I don't have an issue necessarily with this board goal as it's written. However, it is late September, and we will be crafting new board goals, which will be approved at our organizational meeting in January. So I guess my question is it worthwhile to add this to our board goals for 2.5, 3 months when the rest of our goals have been approved for a whole year? I mean, could we just hold off and then have this be part of our new goals, Luke, is what I'm asking? Because we did review these this year. Dr. Roberson gave us a presentation, when was that, in the spring? March?
That was summer, I thought.
Okay.
Summer, yeah.
Okay. So we've sort of done what this says, but
Excuse me.
that would just be my only recommendation.
Table it until January, or?
Like, put it in as a new goal come January when we approve them. I mean, we roll many of them over anyway.
Well, the advantage of taking it now, or putting it now, would be to have it on there, because we usually review our board goals anyway, and then we can add, we sometimes delete them, we add them, we modify them, or we keep them as is. So, and then that way it just becomes, we don't need to bring that point up again.
So we have a motion on the floor to, first and a second, to add this to our board goals. Do you want to amend that, Amy, or are you fine with?
I mean, I was just asking from a discussion point of view, does it make sense to add it so late in our process, as opposed to just making it something that we consider when we approve our board goals in 2.5 months?
Understood. Any other discussion, comments? Okay.
I mean,
Before you vote, can I clarify, is the motion to make this goal number 6?
Yes.
I'll just kind of tack onto the comments that were given. I do see Trustee Hokumer's point. I don't think it would be too problematic to add on. That way we would kind of have it in there as a jumping off point for January. And I see your point. I could go either way. Trustee,
Just that normally goals are presented in January, we accomplish them throughout the year, and then we assess them prior to that. So I'm just saying, we really didn't have this as board goal for the whole year.
yeah.
It can still be added. Here's the language. We would have it ready to go.
I know Trustee Angelini has a deadline or a time commitment. So we have a motion on the floor to amend our board goals. Thank you for your thoughtful discussion. I appreciate it. All those in favor of adding district rankings to our amended board goals, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay, opposed.
Motion passes 5-1.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Angelini. Thank you for the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Joseph, for bringing that forward.
Thank you, my fellow trustees.
Trustees, anything else?
Can I just add one thing? I forgot.
Yes.
I just want to add that this Friday is Pierce's 100th centennial celebration at Pierce at 6 p.m., I believe it is. And so they turn 100. So we have an opportunity to go by Pierce, and please do so.
I will not be there. I will be at Grove's homecoming, but
Yes.
thank you. Trustee
I'm
Joseph?
sorry, I don't know if there was an opportunity to make a comment about the budget, but can it's not really a comment, it's just the way I feel. So it's, I'm very excited that it went down in half, but I'm also optimistic that it will be zeroed out. Because as many people know, that our year end is June 30th. So even though this is an amended budget, it's not the final budget. So that's why I feel comfortable when I voted yes, even though we are still in deficit, but with us having higher enrollment and based on what we see on the finance committee that's coming, I know that I feel like very optimistic that we will be very close to being a balanced budget by June 30th. I just wanted to clarify on why I voted yes.
Thank you. Trustees, anything else before we adjourn?
Study session next week?
Study session next week. With that, we
Feast
will
or famine.
adjourn at 8:21. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our meetings are feast or famine. We meet every week or we don't meet.